and welcome to the Dream Big series. My name is Lithur and I am your presenter for this edition of the Dream Big series. The Dream Big series is a conversation between Ghanaian children and key personalities who have interesting stories to share with us. The Dream Big series is to inspire our children to work hard to also become achievers. This week, the Dream Big series focuses on governance, and our special guest is the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Honorable Mrs. Nana Lithur. The Honorable Minister is a human rights lawyer. Even though she is very busy, she has agreed to talk to us because she's passionate about issues affecting children. Please come with me to meet the Honorable Minister of State. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us. So, Madam, who are your parents and where were you born?
Well, thank you very much, Lithur, for visiting me in my office this morning. My parents have died, so I'm an orphan, like some of our brothers and sisters. My mother was a nurse at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital in charge of the Department of Medicine. So I stayed in Korle Bu all my life. My father was the Deputy Controller and Accountant General. So he was actually just working across the street from where I'm working now. He was just across the street. So my father was a civil servant with the Controller and Accountant General's Department. And his name is Mr. Michael Bampuado. And my mother was called Miss Victoria Duamro.
How was it like for you growing up?
Very exciting. I wish I was still a little girl. I really loved it. Like I said, I lived at Korle Bu and I loved playing. Unlike you guys that are always indoors watching TV, during our time we would play a lot out. We did a lot of outdoor. So I used to play, go to Agonos Park and play, and also go around Korle Bu. And then we'll go to the Korle Lagoon. At that time, the Korle Lagoon was alive. There were canoes and boats on the lagoon. And then we'll go and catch fish, like the small fish. And then we'll put them in empty jam jars. And then we'll put them in our living room and then we'll feed them. At that time, I didn't know that fish lay eggs. So it was during that time that I got to find out that fish lay. Do you know fish lay eggs?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. So then I found out that fish lay eggs. Then we used to also catch tadpoles in the gutters. Like during the rainy season, there'll be a lot of tadpoles. So we'll also catch them. We'll use the mosquito net and we'll catch them and then we'll put them in bottles. But then they'll die and then we'll be very upset. And then we used to play chaskele. And we used to cook food. Then we'll put sand in it. We'll take empty tin tomato tins and milk tins, and then we'll do some fire. They used to sell coal pots in the market for children, and then my mother will buy some for me, and then I'll cook and use boko boko, and I'll cut up nice leaves, and then I'll make soup and rice, and then I'll sell to my brothers who will be driving some sticks around as cars. So I loved, and I used to read a lot. There was a guava tree in my house, in the compound. So when I come back from school, I'll have borrowed a book from the library. Then I'll climb up the guava tree, I'll pluck some guavas and eat. And then I'll spend the rest of the afternoon reading.
Please tell us about your work at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection.
My work is interesting. I do so many things at different times. Sometimes I go and speak. But what I'm supposed to do basically is to make sure that there are programs and projects to ensure, for instance, children's rights are protected. So last week, I was speaking about children's rights. This afternoon, we finalized a policy for children, child protection. So I'll be editing and then I'll be sending it to cabinet. I'll do a letter and then I'll be sending it to cabinet. Sometimes I have to go for cabinet. The president is in charge of cabinet. So all of us ministers will meet, and then we'll talk about how we are going to work to make sure that Ghana is a better place. So we'll be discussing all our programs. But you know, as a minister, you swear an oath. You are not supposed to talk about government work. So I can't tell you what goes on in cabinet. Sometimes too, I'll travel, like on Wednesday, I'm going to go to the central region to go and visit sites where my officers are working. So every day there's something different and there's something new to do.
What are you most proud of?
What am I proud of? There's so many things that I'm proud of. I'm proud that Lithur, you are sitting here and you're interviewing me. That means we're doing a lot of work to make sure that children are educated, are eloquent, and they are confident. I'm proud that you have promised me that you're going to go to Infant Swim School and that you're going to do very well in your JSS to go to Infant Swim School. I'm proud that, personally, I'm proud that I've been able to help many people who have had human rights violations, particularly one very young girl, 8-year-old girl, who was raped by her grandfather. And I'm proud that I was able to help her go through an operation, and then also the fact that the case went to court. So there's so many things that I'm proud of.
Ghana was first the country to ratify the Convention on the Rights of the Child 25 years ago. Is Ghana a better place for children today?
Ghana is definitely a better place for children. Ghana is a better place for children because after we ratified the convention, we have also passed a law, the Children's Act of 1998. And then this year, we've adopted a policy on child protection. Ghana is a better place because in 1992, when we adopted the Constitution, we said in Article 25 that there will be free basic education. So the government of Ghana since then has made sure that we have what we call the capitation grants, and that children have textbooks, children have exercise books. Ghana is a better place because apart from that, children in certain schools are fed one hot nutritious meal a day. In fact, 1.6 million children in schools throughout Ghana are fed a meal. We need to make it even more, an even better place where we have less rape, we have less defilements, where you and I would walk to Tema Station now and we wouldn't see children who are kayaye or children who are begging on the streets. So Ghana can become an even better place for children, where you wouldn't have children saying that my mother is not looking after me, my father is not looking after me, my father is not paying my school fees, and I don't have any food to eat, and I'm going to school and I'm hungry. I believe Ghana can be a better place for children, but we have done well and we can improve and do even better.
As a child, what did you dream about, and have any of those dreams led you here?
I was very curious. I was always asking questions. And my mother and my father would just get tired, and my aunties and my teachers would get tired of me. Every day I'm asking a question. And I used to even like watching ants. Have you watched ants before?
Yes.
Where do you watch them?
Normally they have been looking for food on the ground. So.
Yes. I used to watch them on the windowsill. So I used to feed ants. Every morning I'll go and give them cough syrup. When I was sick and my mother would give me a cough, you know, cough syrup is very sugary. So I'll put drops of cough syrup all along the windowsill to feed the ants. I used to dream of being an air hostess. So if my daddy asked me, so Oye, what do you want to do in future? I said, I want to be an air hostess. So then I became a lawyer. Then I used to dream of becoming a lawyer. Then I actually became a lawyer. And then I was going to court and helping people. And then I became a human rights lawyer. So yes, some of my dreams have come true. Some are yet to come. Like I used to dream about riding a bicycle, but I could never ever get it. I would sit on it and then I'll fall. So I'm still working on that, riding a bicycle. So that's one dream I haven't been able to achieve.
How and where did you find inspiration?
Where do I find inspiration? I find inspiration from listening to people, hearing people's story, like Nelson Mandela, like Winnie Mandela, like Martin Luther King, and then also Kwame Nkrumah. I get a lot of inspiration from reading about Kwame Nkrumah and some of the great African leaders. And then also one very great Indian leader, Mahatma Gandhi. I get a lot of inspiration. And of course, Asantewaa. And I get a lot of inspiration from my mother and also my grandmother, Mami Adjoa Mansa. And just from admiring nature. I love the sea. Do you love the sea? Yes. You are from Labadi, so you should like the sea. Yeah, I think the sea is a very powerful, very interesting creation of God. So I love going to the sea and just watching the waves and getting ideas. And I love reading. So I draw a lot of inspiration from what I read about and also listening to poetry and music. So a lot of things inspire me.
What are the books you read and why?
Oh, I'm terrible. I love, if there's anything I love in this world, is reading. And from as a child, I would read everything and anything. I would read the encyclopedia. I read I had the encyclopedia. I read it. If I wanted to know anything, I'd go and read from the encyclopedia. My mother had a set of the encyclopedia. And then I read Hans Andersen, I read Enid Blyton, Famous Five, Emilia Jane, the Book of Magicians, the Book of Witches, the Book of Wizards, anything that is in print, I'll read. So I read a lot. Have you read Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves?
Yes.
And Haiti, the story of the Swiss lady, and The Sound of Music. There are several stories that now you have Harry Potter. Yes. When we were young, there was no Harry Potter. And then you have Matilda. When we were young, there was no but there was Alice in Wonderland. Have you read Alice in Wonderland?
No.
You have to read Alice in Wonderland. It's a very nice book. And A Basket of Flowers. That is one of the best books I've ever read. It's called A Basket of Flowers. And David Copperfield. And Oliver Twist. And Dick Whittington. And Baba the Elephant. I read that in class 1. Baba the Elephant. You haven't read about Baba the Elephant? Yes, I read about Baba the Elephant. And The Three Little Pigs. And Chicken Licken. So I read a lot of books. I've read a lot. Like, look at the back. Look, you see all those books. I've read most of them.
Wow.
Yes, I've read most of them. So I'm always reading. I read magazines. Like, you just come. I've read all the newspapers this morning. All the newspapers. I've just read about 7 newspapers, less than 1 hour. So it's very important to read. So all of us should read. And children who are watching is very important. You can learn a lot from reading. So it's very important to read. And we have libraries. I used to go to the Ghana Library Board when I was a little girl. I'll pick up a bus from Kolebu bus stop. There was bus 24 and there was bus 2. And it would drop us at the Opera Square. Me and my brothers and our friends who were living on the same building, Court A, Zoti, Kolebu. And then would walk from Opera Square to the Ghana Library Board. And then would borrow books from the Ghana Library Board. And then after 1 week, we'll come back and return. And then I think it was Thursday or Friday, they would have a story time. And they would all come and then would tell stories. Mm-hmm. And of course, I've read books on Kwekwa Nancy, though most of the Kwekwa Nancy stories, it was my grandmother who told me about Kwekwa Nancy. So most of them, it was when I was older that I would read about Kwekwa Nancy. So I've read a lot of books. Have you also read books?
Yes.
What book have you read?
Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
Oh, you've also read that. That's very nice, wasn't it?
Yes. Anansi and the Sky God.
Oh, all right. Okay. Then you've read a lot of books too. That's good.
Who has influenced you the most in your life?
My mother. My mother has influenced me the most. She used to give me a lot of advice. She used to cane me. So I was a naughty girl. So she used to cane me. She used to cane me and tell me, do this and do that and don't do this. And you have to learn hard. And every time my school reports came, my mother and my father would look at it. My father didn't cane me. He'll talk to me and I'll listen. My mother, sometimes she'll cane me, sometimes she'll talk to me. If I was a good girl and all that, then she'll give me presents. But I knew that she loved me very, very much. And I was stubborn. So she had a difficult time with me and my father. Then my father would talk to me. They'll look at my school reports and say, oh yeah, you are doing well in history, but you are not doing well in mathematics. So if you do well in mathematics, we'll buy you something, a nice dress or a doll or something. So my mother influenced me and my grandma influenced me a lot in my life.
Please describe in one brief sentence how you imagine a better world for children.
I would want a world or a Ghana where children receive education, where children are happy, where children have places they can play. Because when I was a child, I went to Richard's school. So every week would walk across the road and go to the children's park. And then there were horses, there were playthings, there were swings. And so I'd also like to see a world where children can play, where children can go to school, and where children are happy, and where children live with their parents, mother and father, one big happy family. I believe that is what children also want for themselves. And as a child, that was what I wanted.
Could you please tell us a story that has made an impact on you?
There are several stories, but there's one about Cinderella. Cinderella was a very beautiful girl who lived with her stepmother and her stepsisters. They didn't treat her well. Every day she was doing all the housework. She would scrub the floor, she would lay the beds, she would fetch water. And then also, they were not nice to her. They would insult her, they would push her. The stepmother would do all sorts of things that were cruel to her. So she was miserable. She wasn't very happy. And then she was sad. Then the prince of the town said he wanted to choose a wife. And so they would have a big ball, a dinner, a party. And all the young girls in the town would attend. So her sisters were very excited about it. They were ready. A seamstress came to measure them. They did nice clothes. They went to town to buy nice shoes. And then Cinderella said, oh, she's also a young woman. They said no. They didn't buy any clothes for her. They didn't buy any shoes for her. Even when it was time for them to go to the party, she was still scrubbing the floor and everything. So they went. When they went, then somebody came to the house and said, Cinderella, you'll also go. Said, well, how can I go? Look at my dress. It was like rags. So the person just waved. It was like a very nice, like angel, a guardian angel, just waved a wand. And then her rags dress turned into beautiful, shimmery, nice gown. And then she had like some glass, nice shoes, very nice. And then there was a carriage. The guy just did the wand like this, and then there was a carriage in front of her house with horses, a golden carriage with horses. They drove her to the ball. Everybody was like, hey, this is a beautiful girl. And then the prince danced with her. And the prince said, I want to marry Cinderella. I want to marry her. But then when it was 12 midnight, she had to leave the party. So as she was running, because then her dress would turn into rags and everything. And then as she was running away, then one of her shoe fell down. But she still had to run away. So the prince said, no, I have to look for this girl who had this shoe. So all the girls in the town had to line up. They were measuring, putting on the shoe. The shoe couldn't fit on them. So when they came to the house of Cinderella, the stepmother said, oh, I've got these daughters. She didn't let Cinderella go and measure the shoe. She said, oh no, Cinderella shouldn't go and measure the shoe. So then one of the guys said, no, no, no. The rule is that all the girls should put on the shoe for us to see who the shoe belongs to. So the stepsisters put it on. They tried. They used the ruler and things. The shoe couldn't fit. And then when Cinderella put on the shoe, it fit. And the prince said, okay, so you are the one, I'm going to marry you. And the prince married her. For me, the lesson is you have to be nice to everybody and you shouldn't be cruel to people. So that's a story that I really like. And then, of course, the one with Rapunzel, the woman the girl who had very long hair, and then she was in a castle and she would put her hair out of the window and then they'll climb on it and come in. So Cinderella is my story.
We are indeed very grateful to you, Honorable Minister of State, for finding time to meet with us and for telling us a story that will be with us for a very long time.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
And to you watching this program in the comfort of your home, I hope you have enjoyed this program with the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection as much as I did. Thanks for experiencing this journey with us until we meet next week on the Dream Big series. Let us continue to dream very big. Bye.